Hi, welcome to QCL. We've created these videos to enhance your first-class fishing experience. Let's get right into it. For navigating the harbor, there's a couple things to keep in mind. The one is just a safe distance from the shore. There's a lot of rocks, especially when you first leave the lodge, that you want to give a lot of room, so err on the side of caution when you're leaving. When you do make it to the narrows, you'll see a large marker. It's a red triangle. You want to make sure that you don't cut between that and the shore. A good way to remember which side to be on is red right return, meaning when you're coming back to the harbor, that red marker is on your right-hand side. So when you're leaving, it'll be on your left as it's shown here. There is a large reef there that you can't see. It looks like you can get through there, but it's very, very shallow and dangerous. Brown's Rock is another one. This one on a low tide sticks out of the water 2 or 3 feet, but on a high tide is completely invisible. It's just a good reminder whenever you're traveling along these major points to give them lots of space. Anchovies are a great and simple bait option for catching salmon. They're really simple to set up. There's a pin that runs through the eye here. You want to pop that pin out. You take your anchovy and feed it into the teaser head, and then reinsert that pin to lock it into place. Of your 2 hooks, you'll take the front hook and go right through the center line of the anchovy at the back of the dorsal fin, all the way through. And then just pulling this tight to give it a slight bend, and that's all it's going to be. There's a couple important parts about cut plugs, the cut itself, and then the hook placement. For the cut, I normally go right behind the gill plates, keeping the knife flat and going all the way through, taking the head right off. Remove the head. You then take the guts and do the same, scraping them out. With your hooks, you have 2. Your first one goes on the close side up and all the way through. That'll just hang for now. Your front hook, or your toe hook, goes up through the spine, just straight vertical, and then your back hook will do what we call burying, where you go in towards yourself and out, and then gently tucking that hook and knot into the side of the herring, like that. If you choose to do what we call an inline flasher, where your flasher is connected to your main line and then directly to your lure, your leader length is important. On an anchovy or a spoon or something similar to that, 6 feet or a wingspan is preferred. The only difference being if you're running a hoochie or a plastic squid, your leader length should be about 18 inches. So for downriggers, essentially understanding what they're doing, they allow you to use the cannonball for weight to get your line down to the depth that you want your bait to be at. They're pretty simple. There's only 2 functions that they have. It's the brake, which is going to allow that cannonball to drop, and then the motor itself, which brings it back up. There's 2 ways to bring this up. You can press the green button at the top, or you can turn this to the on position and it'll come up and stop on its own. To swing the cannonball into the water over the boat, there's a switch on the base. For me, it's right here. Sometimes it's in different locations. Pick up the weight of the cannonball, press down on that switch, rotate the downrigger out till it clicks, and then gently let the cannonball down into the water. From here, you can use the brake. It's important to feather the brake, not to just open it all the way and send the cannonball to the bottom. So gently lifting this until it starts to go, and then relying on the counter to tell you how deep your cannonball is. When you're done, like I said, you can press the button and it comes up, or you can switch that to on and it'll come up on its own. If you do run into issues with your downrigger, there's a couple things that you can check really quickly. The first one I'd look at would be the plug itself. Sometimes just giving that a wiggle, making sure it's not disconnected. That's a good place to start. The second one would be to open up the cover and take a look at the belt. Sometimes it's just as simple as this comes off. If you have a motor issue that's more significant, and especially if you have your cannonball down at the time when it does break, this here acts as a wrench. This just pops out and there's a groove that it slides into, and that just acts as a wrench to bring that downrigger up if the motor's not working. Remember, if you're having issues with your downrigger or with anything in general, the Fishmaster is always on the water and can be contacted on channel 06 to help you out. A descending device is used to take a rockfish or a bottom fish back down to the similar depth that it was caught at. When rockfish are caught at depths below 150 feet, when they get brought to the surface, they experience what's called barotrauma, and they're unable to recompress and go back down without assistance. So we have these devices here to connect to the downrigger to help bring those fish back down similar depth that they were caught at to give them a chance to recompress. So how these work is there's these two pins on the side which you pull down to release the jaws. This goes and clamps onto the lips of the fish like that. And then it's brought over the side of the boat, and with the clip at the back is connected to the downrigger cord. It's important that if you set that to 150 feet, for example, that you drop this downrigger down below the depth that you have it set at to give the device a chance to release. When tagging your fish, there's two locations on the fish that you're going to be looking to place these tags. The first one's going to be around the wrist or the tail. That's predominantly for Chinooks and halibut. They have a larger wrist. It'll hold the tag on better. The second spot is through the gill plate and out the mouth. We encourage this for all fish. You can do that with Chinook and halibut as well. It's a little bit easier on rockfish and smaller fish species that have a smaller tail where the tag would normally slide off. I hope you enjoyed these videos. Remember, if you have any questions at all, there's always a staff member around to help you out. Good luck and tight lines.